Okay, so this is going to be our third and final video of day 5, unit 1 in geometry. And in it, we're going to relate vertical angles to parallel lines. So first, let's go ahead and answer axiomatically. What are parallel lines axiomatically, right? If two lines will never intersect, then they're parallel. Okay? And if I read that in the converse, if they're parallel, then the two lines will never intersect. That obviously, that would be our axiomatic definition of parallel lines, right? Shouldn't have to prove it to you. If line A continues on its path and line B is oriented in the exact same way, we require no proof whatsoever that they will never intersect. And we'll make a lot more sense of this later, but we're going to start to make sense of it right now. So this next EQ, our line and transversal definition of parallel lines, right? So there's a simple way to express this, right? But, okay, so all the same, here we have two lines, M and N, being intersected by the same transversal T, right? And we see we have 8 angles, so there's 2 vertices. That would be our answer here to number 1, right? How many vertices are formed? Well, duh, there's 2. How many sets of vertical angles are formed? Again, 2, right? This is a set of vertical angles formed by this vertex here, and you have the same situation happening here. Okay, how many angles are formed? Well, we know that there's 8 because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, and how many pairs of supplementary angles do we count? Well, we know that there's going to be 4 on each set of vertical angles from what we talked about earlier, right? We know that there's going to be 4 pairs of vertical angles on any set of vertical angles, or 4 pairs, my bad, of supplementary angles on any set of vertical angles. Okay, so we know that there's going to be 8. 4 plus 4 is 8. Okay, if lines M and N are parallel, what has to be true about the vertical angles A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H? Well, let's think about that for a second. Okay, if M and N are axiomatically just parallel, like what we talked about back here, right? What would have to be true about the 8 angles that are here, right? Well, let's say angle A is 30 degrees. Okay, let's just pretend it's 30 degrees. Well, then that means D is also 30 degrees. And B would have to be 150, and you see where I'm going with this. Okay, well, what does that tell us about line N, right? What's that tell us about line N? Well, would it be possible for E to be 45 degrees and M and N still be parallel? The answer is no. Okay, what would have to be true if they are parallel, and again, this is axiomatic. If you have a ruler and protractor, feel free to prove this to yourself, but A and E would have to be congruent, okay? Which means F and B would have to be congruent as well. And duh, if one of the angles is equal, right, it follows then that they have to be supplementary. So the supplement of 30 would be 150 because that adds to 180. Opposite angles are congruent, right? And adjacent angles are supplementary, right? Throwing around a whole bunch of words. Okay, so what do we notice? Well, we notice a few things must be true. Okay, corresponding angles. Corresponding angles are congruent. That's the simplest way to put it. Okay, and I don't know why I'm writing it up there because I'm supposed to be answering down there, number 5. Okay, so we know corresponding angles must be congruent. What else do we know? Well, we know opposite exterior angles must be congruent, right? Or what you would call alternate exterior angles. Okay, what else has to be true? The same thing except with interior angles, right? Opposite interior angles will be congruent, or alternate interior angles congruent. Okay, what else could we say? Well, you could say uh, same side, same side interior angles are supplementary, right? So same side interior angles are supplementary. There's a whole bunch of things that are true. What about same side exterior angles? Yep, A and G are same side exterior angles, and they would be supplementary. So same side exterior angles would have to be congruent. All of these things are true just because these two lines are parallel. All of these things are true. Okay, so what is our line and transversal definition of parallel lines? That could literally be every single one of these things. Every single one of these things. Okay, and I don't know why I wrote congruent there when I should have wrote supplementary. Pretty sure I said supplementary out loud, but still wrote congruent. Okay, so you get the idea. Okay, so like always, okay, because this is a lot of info. Like always, if you have any questions over any of this, shoot me an email or feel free to come and see me. Goodbye.